Good afternoon. Murder in the Cathedral by T.S. Eliot. Thomas Stern Eliot was born on 26th September 1888 at St. Louis, Missouri, an industrial city in the central of USA. His ancestors on the father's side had migrated to America in 1668 from East Coast, England. He was a man of academic interest and in course of time became a founder of the Washington University at St. Louis and also left behind him a number of religious writings. But the Henry Eliot, poet's father Henry Eliot did not enter the church. He took the brick trade at St. Louis, in which he was very successful. He married uh, in the city Boston, and his wife was very enthusiastic social worker as well as writer of caliber. Here, our writer, that is the T.S. Eliot, was sent to school at St. Louis Day School, where he studied till 1905 when he went to Harvard University. He began writing at school and showed his marked technical proficiency and sense of humor. In 1897, his father built a holiday resort at Eastern Point near Cape Ann in New England. Later on, this man, our writer, that is the T.S. Eliot, graduated from Howard University in 1910 and prompted by his interest in the French symbolist, he went to France and spent a year at the Sorbonne University at Paris, studying uh, widely in many German in contemporary writers. In 1911, from Paris, Eliot went to Bavaria, Germany, where he came into contact with important German writers. And then we have in the life of the T.S. Eliot, that is his marriage, and later on his career as journalist, his poetic his career as a poet, and then later on his interest in the religion. These are the key factors as far as the life of the T.S. Eliot is concerned and about his parents. Now we have to see some of the things related to the writing of the T.S. Eliot, that is particularly speaking about the poetry. T.S. Eliot's career as a poet we may divide into 4 to 5 parts or phases, we may say. He began his writing as poet in his school age or school days. Then the second phase, where he wrote Prufrock and other observations in 1917, and where the other notable writings are Portrait of a Lady, the Preludes, then the third phase of his writing is there, that is the Geronation, cooking egg, swinging erect, such type of the major and the important writing that we may observe. Hello Man in the third phase of the T.S. Eliot, and then the fourth phase where it is from 1925 to 1935, where we may see T.S. Eliot as a religious poet, where he wrote Christian poetry. Eliot joined Anglican Church of England in 1927, and this change in his faith is reflected in the poems of this phase. The poet searches for a right way, a right solution to the human dilemma, and he does so through the traditional material and imagery of Christianity. The tone is rather optimistic, and there are indications of the solution which is poet is likely to reach. The more characteristics poems of this Christian poet period are Ash Wednesday, it was published in 1937, Journey of the Maggie, Annie Mila, then the Marina, Chorus from the Rock, and number of minor and unfinished poems that we may observe in the last period or last phase of his writing, as it is considered as religious writing. Then also he turned towards poetic plays, where the Rock, a peasant play, Murder in the Cathedral, Family Reunion, Cocktail Party, Confidential Clerk, Elder Statesman, these are the poetic plays which Eliot wrote after 1935, and one is published in 1934, and the remaining, that is the Murder in the Cathedral, was published in 1935, and the remainings are after 35. As a dramatist, his range is narrower than that of his poetry. He began by writing purely Christian drama. The Rock is a pageant written in a collaboration with E.M. Brown, and Murder in the Cathedral, one of his most significant play, deals with the martyrdom of Thomas Becket. The dramatist tries to bring home to his audience a real meaning of the significance of martyrdom. The setting is medieval. Latter plays also have a religious theme, but the setting is a contemporary and social one. By the time the family reunion, Eliot felt a need to appeal to larger and larger audiences, and hence his use of the verse form is not subtle only for the learned few. These latter plays are basically upper class drawing room comedies in the tradition of the comedy of manners, with a strong melodramatic elements. They can be enjoyed as such by unthinking, while for the more thoughtful there is a religious content. The meaning of martyrdom to the modern world and the place in it of the saint. Eliot's plays suffer from a tinge of artificiality which has limited their appeal. They have been written according to a theory and represent a reaction against the English dramatic tradition. Successful drama in England, with the few exceptions, has never been written to rule it has always been romantic while Eliot tries to write according to rules and theories. He might have produced successful plays in the classical style, but they have always seemed artificial to England audience. Eliot stands in the long line of the poet critics, beginning with the Ben Jonson and including such a name as Dryden, Johnson, Coleridge, Matthew Arnold. Such critics know the mysteries of their own and art and so can speak with force and conviction. Eliot's critical pronouncements, first published largely in the form of articles and essays in numerous periodicals and journals of the day, have now been collected in the following books: Use of Poetry and Use of Criticism. It was published in 1933. The Idea of a Christian Society. It was published in 1939. Notes Towards a Definition of Culture. It was published in 1948. Selected Essays, third edition. It was published in 1951. On Poetry and Poets was published in 1957. To Criticize the Critic, it was published in 1965. Tradition and Individual Talent, Poetry and Drama, The Function of Criticism, the English Metaphysical Poets, The Frontiers of Criticism, etc., are among his more popular essays in the literary criticism. The value of Eliot's criticism arises from the fact that he speaks with the authority and conviction, and his prose style is as precise and memorable as his poetry. He has been largely responsible for the revival of interest in the metaphysical poets of the 17th century. His rare gift of crystallizing his thoughts in striking, trenchant phrases has gained for him wide popularity and appeal. Phrases like dissociation of sensibility, objective correlative, unified sensibility, etc., have gained wide currency. The Criterion. Eliot worked as editor of the Criterion from 1922 to 1939. This literary magazine stood for the integrity of European culture. It receives a contribution from all over Europe on a wide variety of subjects, and its content reflect the Catholicity of Eliot's interest. Eliot himself closes down the magazine when, with the outbreak of war, it became clear that the breakdown of communication with Europe was inevitable. This is the short information about the various writing of the T.S. Eliot. Before starting our Murder in the Cathedral, we will look after some of the critical concepts of the T.S. Eliot. That is, objective correlative is there, dissociation of sensibility is there, fusion of thoughts and feelings is there, then the classic and the romantic is there, then the tradition is there, and with this we will conclude the same one, and then we will look after the next part of our prescribed drama, poetic drama. Objective correlative. The phrase objective correlative was first used by T.S. Eliot in his essay on Hamlet. The phrase has gained such a wide popularity that Wimsatt and Brooks write the phrase an objective correlative has gained a currency probably far beyond anything that the author could have expected or intended. In the opinion of T.S. Eliot, emotion can best for expressed in poetry through the use of some suitable objective correlative. He himself defines objective correlative as a set of objects, a situation, a chain of events which shall be the formula for the poet's emotion, so that when external facts are given, the emotion is at once evoked. For example, in Macbeth, the dramatist has to convey the mental agony of Lady Macbeth, and he does so in the sleepwalking scene, not through direct description but through the unconscious repetition of her fast action. Her mental agony has been made objective so that it can also be correlated. Such things are here. The same we can have in the example of the Othello, where the objective correlative can be observed. Then dissociation of the sensibility. We will continue in the next. Okay, thank you.